Welcome everyone to Journey of Riches, the interview series with the authors. I'm joined by Laura Denman. She's a retreat facilitator. We collaborated on a book together, Journey of Riches, Unlocking Your Hidden Potential. And great to be chatting with you today, Laura.
Hi, John. It's
Yes,
really
I mean,
lovely. It's really lovely. We've had a few
what a
technical
journey.
hiccups, but I'm really glad that we were able to connect in this way.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's good just to persist, and it's all good. And your chapter was it challenging for you to share your story and to put it on paper and know that it's going to go out into the world?
Yes, is the simple answer.
Yeah,
It was a journey in itself and
yeah,
a process which I am so grateful for.
yeah,
Not only because it really helped me
yeah,
sort of achieve something that I've wanted to do for a while.
yeah,
Not necessarily maybe thinking that I would ever release something like what I've done in this chapter, but I always felt
yeah,
like I wanted to write something and I wanted to get something out there. So for some years, I've been journaling. Sometimes it's journaling stuff just for myself to just process stuff in life generally and get things out on
yeah.
paper. But a lot of the times I write things like a blog, I suppose, and I've never really done anything with it. There's heaps and heaps of, I don't know, books and writings and then notes, notifications, things on my phone. And I always
Mhm.
thought one day maybe I'm going to piece all of this together and maybe release something to the world. Um, and then this opportunity came my way. And when you said about what the theme was of the book, unlock your hidden potential, at first when we went through the brainstorming, there were so many different chapters that I could have released of my areas in my life. I thought, well, what one do I, what, let's look back through all my ramblings in the past. Is there something I can use there? I have used a few bits in the chapter, but I decided that I was going to pick something that was, for my first chapter, should I say, my first release was really personal to me and a dedication. So this chapter of mine is a dedication to my late father, who passed 25 years ago. It was 25 years this January. We've always marked the occasion, especially me and my mum. We've got a very close relationship, and we've always done something together through every single year. And because I feel like it's a massive milestone, this 25-year milestone, I thought, you know what, I want to write about. I want to write about this in a way that I can just express maybe some of the feelings, emotions, and things that I felt were blocking me and hiding
Mhm.
me to become to my full potential. And also, kind of wanted to share with whoever reads the chapter and reads the book some of the tools and advice that I used to be able to get to where I am now, which is 25 years later from 17 years old when the event happened of losing my dad, to now 42 years old as a grown woman with a family and all of the processes. I mean, I don't share everything, but I share some key elements in there of some of the things that I tackled, the emotions, and what I decided to kind of do to get to where I
Yeah,
am now. And it's been
yeah, it's
very
awesome.
vulnerable.
Yeah, yes, yes. I imagine a very therapeutic experience, and no doubt that your dad
Oh,
is, yeah, if he can look down from heaven and see, you'd be very proud.
oh, thank you. Yeah, there's a piece in the book that I really wanted to keep in, which is in there, that
Yeah,
says that maybe the stars are there and there are loved ones shining brightly down on us to let us know that they're happy. And
yeah,
I really feel like because of what happened when I was in Budapest at the time at a Coldplay concert, and
mm,
there was an event at this Coldplay concert that happened through one of the songs, I believe a sky full of stars. And there was a moment where we were asked, with huge human interaction, and it was just so amazing, this moment where we were all to look up to the sky and with our hands up high, with our fingers like this, and look up at the stars in the sky and make an offering or think of someone or send something out to the universe. And I remember it was just such a magical moment for me. And I sent out love to a few loved ones and things like that. But I sent out a message and I thought, yeah, my dad's up there somewhere. And I sent out a message with my fingers like this. And I also asked a question, was like, get me on the right path. Am I doing the right thing in my life? Is there another direction? Give me something, you know. Obviously I'm speaking this in my head, not out loud, lots of people, and it was a magical moment. And then exactly a month after that concert is when you reached out to me, because you had seen something that I had written about that experience, about my dad.
Yes. Yes.
How strange was that? And I was just like, this is weird. It was weird how it all came about.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
how else do you explain it? It's hard to put into words, but you had that experience, so it's undeniable.
yeah, I think you said that you saw a piece of my writing that I wrote, and I did write about my dad and said,
Yeah.
I had this amazing experience, and and you sort of said that you could connect and relate to that, and would I
Yes.
be interested in maybe sharing it? And at first I was a little bit, who are you? Like, what is this about? Is this some kind of scam? Because it just felt so like magical, this invitation to do something that I've perhaps wanted to do for a while. And then all of a
Right.
sudden it was there for me to take, and I did. And I'm so happy that that I did. And I'm ready to share now. The book goes live tomorrow, goes out tomorrow. Bit apprehensive, but at the same time, I'm just ready to own my part of my story now, and hopefully help others, that all the readers that do read it, not just from my chapter, but from everyone, all the authors. We've all got different stories, different things to share. And even the process of just writing it down on paper has helped us probably individually, but also to get it out into the world and help the person that's reading it. Hopefully it inspires them or helps them in some way.
Yeah, 100%. That's what we've found over the years. As you said before, this is the 39th book in the series. And so, yeah, we get reviews on every book, and we have a loyal following of readers. They get every book. And so, yeah, that's kind of what the feedback that we get is, almost like, oh my God, this chapter is written just for me, and it's
Mm.
amazing the synchronicities that happen and transpire. And so, yeah, who knows? You may get to experience that again through the reader's experience. And what I was curious to understand, what does unlock your hidden potential mean to you?
Yeah, I feel like in that 25 years, there were so many things that kept me from being the person that I wanted to be. And the thing is, it's easy for us, okay, for many years to say, it's because of this, it's because of this event, it's because of this story, and these are the reasons why I'm unhappy. And it's obvious, yeah, we do have bad things perhaps happen to us, and they do hold us back. But it's clear to me now that whatever we identify with, whatever story we identify with, we can keep that and keep living that, or we
Mhm.
can tackle it. And like I say, we battle our own demons and we
Mm.
decide what we're going to do next. And I believe that I could have stayed there in a space where I was very depressed. Um, my confidence had gone a lot. Maybe on the surface, it wasn't, very obvious to
Mhm.
people. Maybe because I'm quite a fun character, quite bubbly. I'm a people person, so I'm always interacting with people in a lovely way because I love people. I wouldn't necessarily be like showing everybody maybe perhaps how I was truly feeling inside. Also for protection, personal protection, but also because I didn't want to upset others. I didn't want to hold other people in a space where maybe it brought them down to feeling crappy or anything like that. So I just kind of had it going on in here. But after a while, you realize that the body sends you signals. If you're not good and you're not happy, your body eventually will catch up with you and things will happen. And that's what happened to me. My body was a clear indicator that I wasn't good. And this buried emotion that I wasn't maybe letting out or sharing, and I believe the grieving process and things like that, if I was just going to keep burying it, it was going to come out anyway, but just in other ways. And it did. It caught up with me. You know, my health wasn't good. I was going through panic attacks. My skin was awful because everything was just coming out, you know, and I was back and forward to the hospital, very stressed on a lot of tablets, anti-anxiety, depression. They gave me beta blockers at one point, and I was like, aren't these for people that are like 80 years old? And here I am, like in my early 20s on beta blockers. And I thought, this has to stop. And the only person that can stop this really is not my doctor. It's listening to myself and listening to my inner voice and working out, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I did. I took lots of different action. I moved into like this transformation space where I listened to, you know, coaches, transformation coaches, public speakers, reading books, learning knowledge. And I decided like I was going to make some changes in my life, and I did. I made a lot of changes, and some changes happened fast, and some were a slow process of going, right, I just need to feel my way through this, and you know, and just really listen to myself and listen to my body. And in time, you know, I took myself to yoga, which was my savior. I'd always done yoga when I was at college, but more of just a fun thing to do, not more on a spiritual, deeper level. This time I went back to yoga for really listening and tuning inward and learning a lot about myself, and that discipline as well of giving myself that space and time to heal from the inside out. And it did literally feel like that. I was healing inside, and then the fruits came on the surface after a long time of being really disciplined, really practiced. You know, I stopped doing certain things that weren't making me unhappy. You know, as a youngster, as a teenager, well, not so much a teenager, but, you know, in the period of time where I lost my dad, I was 17. You know, all you do is you go out with your friends, you're drinking heavily, and, you know, you're doing college or whatever, or studying. But for me, it was very social with my friends going out drinking. And that became a thing that we did all the time. But of course, if you're depressed and you're not actually happy, it's just a cover up. That's what I did. I just went out, was drinking. The drinking didn't do me any service. I didn't like it. I often felt crap afterwards. I felt like, you know, I wasn't being productive, especially in my mind. You know, your body feels rubbish. Your mind's gonna not be in a good place either. So I just knocked all of that on the head, just completely decided. And of course, when you're a youngster and you decide to not drink anymore, that really affects your social life because your friends are like, why aren't you coming out anymore? And it wasn't so much that I was a hermit and I was locking myself away because I was depressed. It was at the point now where I was like, I need to do this to actually find happiness, and I need to change and use my time and energy into other places and really think about the interactions and the time that I'm using. What am I doing with my time? And is that serving me? And I joined all sorts of groups and new friendships. I joined a Buddhist group for a while, and that was brilliant as well. That was really, really good. And all of these things, if I hadn't have done them, I don't know if I would have gone on the same journey. I don't know whether I would be the person that I am today. And, it's a hard process, but I believe everybody goes through these journeys in life, different circumstances. But, ultimately, if you're not living sort of true to who you actually really want to be, you are hiding your potential. And I was doing that for ages. I thought there were so many things that I wanted to do or be, and I wasn't being them, and I certainly wasn't gonna stay the same. I
Mm.
wasn't prepared to stay in that same place, so I had to make changes because no one else was gonna, no one else can make you happy really on the inside. It's got to come from you, So I talk about it a little bit in the chapter.
You do. And I was curious, like, how has you embarking on the healing journey helped you to tap into more of your potential?
Um, so I think, how much is the journey on my healing process, you
I
say?
know, like, since you've embarked on this the healing journey, how has it
Oh,
enabled you to access more of your potential?
yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, evidently, I'm now living in a a work mode of, does
Mm.
this kind of work serve me?
Yeah.
So on a personal level, it's always been for me like being able to have connection with people.
Hmm.
So the interactions and making connections. And so I set up a business. I took a yoga training. I decided that not only did yoga help me, and I loved it so much as a now lifestyle, that I wanted to do that for other people. So I trained, I took my yoga training, I passed. We then went into lockdown, but luckily I was just able to get my qualification. We went into lockdown. It didn't stop me. I started teaching online. It gave me confidence to put myself out into other platforms. And then when
Hmm.
lockdown, sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. When lockdown finally lifted, I was like, this is a really good time actually to just put myself out there, because not only I feel like I want to have new relationships and new connections with people, but people want to come back out into the community, and people needed that. People really needed that at that time. So I opened up my studio and started offering yoga services. And at first I thought, let's just keep it to yoga. In the
Hmm.
background, I was doing lots of other training. I was having coaching. I was going away working on event programs with Tony Robbins, who's one of my favorite coaches. And he's from America, but he came to UK. So I took the opportunity to go and work on his it's like a 3-day event, and it was in Birmingham,
Hmm.
and I went up there and it was absolutely amazing. And I learned so much and I met so many wonderful people. And it made me think, okay, so there's more. It's not just about teaching yoga, it's about how you connect people and how you can help people. So then I started thinking, who's my actual audience that I feel like I can kind of relate to? And it was women. Um, I do feel like I can relate more to women, and maybe, you know, some of the things that I share in my chapter, it's not just aimed at women, but some
Yeah.
of the processes that I went through with motherhood, um, my feelings of how I felt as a woman in my own body, I can't really share that with the men. So I was like, my target audience primarily are women. So let's see if I can perhaps reach out to some women that might want to either learn from some of my workshops, or what do women actually really need and what do they want? And it is to give them the space, hold the space for women to find themselves and just let go. And the letting go
Mm.
part is the hardest, especially when we take on today's responsibilities. And for me, that was, I'd given up full time work. I'd been on a long journey, which is a story in itself, through trying to get my children, okay, trying to conceive. So I went through a whole journey of grief in itself with infidelity. So had to then go through IVF treatment. And
Okay.
that's a story on its own and a process on its own. And I thought, there are probably women out there that share similar stories to me. Let's all get us together in a round. We call it a women's circle. And let's just be real and talk about life experiences. And if people don't feel like they're ready to openly share, perhaps they can listen to me or some of my advice or techniques that I was learning. About how to move through these obstacles and really just feel good about themselves. We all deserve to feel good and let go of all sometimes these restrictions that do keep us being happy. And also not just keep us from being happy in the present moment, but stop us from actually living onwards, moving onwards into new directions, because you can become quite happy, but you can also go, right, I'm comfortable now. And sometimes our potential is not just in the comfortable happiness stage, but it's also in that kind of like breaking through. The potential sometimes for me is, what do we need to break down and what do we need to move through? Because there's so much more to access. There's so much more happiness on the other side of like our comfort zones. And I know, because I've been through them, I've really pushed myself in really uncomfortable times. And writing the chapter perhaps was one of them, because there were times where I was writing and I was crying and feeling all the emotions and having to take a moment going, oh, this is quite uncomfortable. Do I actually really want to share this? And there was plenty of times where I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should just write about something else. Well, that would have been the easy option. And the easy option would have gone, actually, no, I'll pass. Why would anybody want to listen to something that I've got to say? Well, maybe that was me like 10 years ago, but now I've got through that. Well, I'm like, actually, I don't care. I'm just going to put myself out into the world, and I'm going to sometimes ride those uncomfortable feelings and things like that. I'm just going to do it. And, lots of stuff can happen when you kind of let go. Yeah. So,
That's true. And I really like what you shared at one point in your chapter that, you were leaving your young family to go away on a yoga retreat, which I imagine would have been incredibly difficult. But you know that you knew that you just had to do this for yourself. And then you're looking in this woman's eyes, and
oh,
how difficult was that? And how did
oh,
that help you unlock more of yourself?
that was I had to write about this in the chapter, because this was separate from what had happened with my dad. This wasn't about my dad. My dad had passed, the emotions had happened. I was hanging on to these emotions and perhaps living in those emotions, because that's where I was. That's where I was at. I wasn't past. Maybe I hadn't grieved properly. But also, I'd gone through the whole not being able to have children. And that wasn't an easy ride. So again, that
Yeah,
knocked me down, like, oh, everything's knocking me down. And I
yeah,
finally had my twins. I've now got 3 children, but at the time, I had twins, and then Evelyn came along naturally, which was a miracle
yeah.
too. And I felt a bit trapped. I felt like I had everything I'd ever wanted. I had my own family, and I had these amazing 3 children, which was crazy. I'd given up my full-time job to care for these children, because I was like, it's been hard enough to get my children. Now I've got them. I'm going to really embrace in motherhood and do everything I can. So, I decided that I wasn't going to go back to work full-time. I was going to do bits and pieces, a few other businesses around, but really be a mother. And I tell you what, it felt amazing, but at the same time, it felt really claustrophobic, because I was still trapping all of these emotions that I had in my body. They hadn't really come out yet. And I had a loss. I had a couple of losses, a really good friend of mine, and then somebody that I had worked with who I really looked up to. She had passed away, and it knocked me for six. Here I was as a mum with these small children, being really responsible, having to take care of 3 little humans, but maybe I wasn't actually looking after myself very well. And then this is what happened again. My body was telling me something's not right. And I thought, right, what I need to do is I need to be a better parent. I need to parent myself really well so that I can be the best parent I can be. And I decided, what can I do that's fun, that I'm going to enjoy, that's going to bring me joy and happiness, but also I can do with my children, and bring into our family home, because I need to feel a bit more uplifted. Felt really stagnant just being a mum at home. I felt like I needed more. So I decided, right, I know what I'm going to do. I loved yoga. I'm going to go and learn how to teach yoga to children so that I can do it at home. So when I was waving goodbye to my husband and the 3 children at the train station, that was the first time I had ever been anywhere on my own without the children for a long time. And I was nervous. I had sweaty palms, the lot. And I remember just leaving the train platform thinking, oh my God, it's just me on my own. I don't know anyone that I'm going to go and meet. I'm literally on my own for the first time in forever. Wow. And that freedom and that release was just really bizarre, but really needed. And then I went and met some wonderful people from all different areas in the world. And the training was in Bournemouth, which is a really lovely seaside here. So it was really lovely as well to be by the sea, which is, is great anyway, just to take in the sea air and that breeze and that freedom of walking along the beach with, no responsibilities, just me to look after. And I got to know these people for a couple of days. We were learning a lot about yoga. I loved it. It was so playful. And all of a sudden, I started feeling like the childness coming back out in me. I was like, I can definitely do this stuff at home with my children, but also maybe I could do this with other children, which did come later. And then on the last day, I think it was the last day or leading up to the last bit of our training, we were asked to just stand in front of a lady. I was standing in front of a lady who I write about in my book, and just take in each other. It was like this human connection thing that I'd been so longing for so long. And we just stood at like arm's reach of each other, and we were just gazing into each other's eyes. And I think there was a little bit of sort of music in the background. And you just completely zone out of everything that's happening around you, but you just have to focus on the person that's standing in front of you. And straight away, I realized this girl was so beautiful. I'd shared a couple of days with her. She was very like me, very playful and fun, and had really good character to her. She was also very, very beautiful. And I remember looking into her eyes and just thinking, wow, this is a really amazing human. And something inside of me, I don't know what happened. It was awful. Something inside of me just went, oh my God, I'm looking in her eyes and I can see such beauty, but she's also looking in my eyes. And I felt like she could look into my soul. Like she was looking so, so strong and intense to me. And all of a sudden, all of these things that I felt about myself or had been feeling, all of my inadequacies that I thought I had, all of my depression, all of the stuff that I kept suppressed, I suddenly thought that she would be able to feel it. Maybe she did feel it, maybe she didn't. I don't think she did. She had no idea what I was thinking. But it came to the surface because I was thinking, oh my God, she can see me, and maybe she can actually really see me. And it was awful because it was a release. It was supposed to be an open sharing thing, but it was so vulnerable to the point where I just couldn't do it. I was crying. She was looking at me as if to say, oh, okay, are you okay? She could see I wasn't good. And in the end, I just had to break our stare, and I had to apologize, and I had to run out of the room. Well, I didn't run. I just made my way out of the room, not causing a fuss, and just went into the bathroom and just completely broke. And this is the pivotal moment. I absolutely broke, and I looked in the mirror and I thought, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on? And I remember like being hot, feeling that panic, throwing lots of cold water all over my face. I share it in the chapter. It was a moment that it was awful, absolutely hideous moment, but I needed that. That was what made me go, it stops here. This is
Mhm.
ridiculous. This
Mhm.
beautiful human being is thinking, what is going on? And I remember her saying, I'm really sorry. I really hope it was something that you didn't see in me that made you feel this way. And I said, oh my gosh, you have no idea. Like, you are so beautiful. I am so sorry that this wasn't the
Yeah.
interaction that perhaps you deserved. But I did need this because this is a wake up call. And we
Yeah.
connected afterwards, and I explained to her, look, this is what's going on. And she was like, I didn't see that in you. She's like, you, honestly, I was thinking the same as what you were thinking about me. You know, your lovely blue eyes, like your skin. She was saying all of these amazing things. And I was like, wow, that feels nice to hear. Other
Yeah.
people can say it, but I don't believe it and I don't feel it. So that was the
Okay.
point where I was like, what do I need to do to
Mhm.
feel these good things that are in me that I'm not seeing and I'm not feeling? What do I need to do and what do I need to change? And that's where it all came from. It was such a big moment for me. I still am connected to the lovely lady. I'm actually sending her a book when it releases as a way of just saying, 25 years has passed, and that was such a pivotal moment for me that, for her, maybe it might not have been such a big thing, but for me, it was something that went, right, your life needs to change now.
20, that wasn't 25 years ago, though, was it? I believe that was only
So,
like 10
no,
years
that
ago that you
wasn't.
went
You're
to the
right.
yoga
That
retreat.
was,
10
I'm
years
trying to
ago?
remember what year it was. So I
Maybe
think
less.
yeah, I think it was 10 years ago because my little girl was 3. Yeah, it was
Okay.
probably about 9 or
She's 8
10 years
now.
ago.
She's 13 now.
My boys are 13 and my little girl's birthday today, she's 9. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
Oh,
I
happy
think it was
birthday
maybe
to you,
about
mate.
9 years ago. I
Okay,
can't
so if she
remember.
was three,
So
it
much
was
has
6 years
happened.
ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
so much
a
has
yoga
happened.
teacher for how long? Okay.
That was like the unraveling, John, of like, I mean, 9 years ago, and that happened.
Yeah.
And then I went on and studied yoga for adults because I was like, I can do it for children, and that's really fun. But I want to do something
Okay.
for me now. And the whole
Yes.
process of doing my yoga training, that is where I shed all of the skin. That was
Right.
where all of the trauma come up, everything. There was nowhere to hide anymore. And I learned so much about myself. I mean, it was a really hard training. There were aspects of it which I didn't feel like I was ready for. And I don't think that those that were on the training were nurtured perhaps professionally as they should have been. We were going to learn about yoga, and yoga is learning about the self, but
Mm.
it was really, really deep. And I think perhaps we should have had a little bit of extra help, maybe someone to help counsel us through these emotions because it was so raw. And I'm not going to lie, I cried for the whole, I think we did, it was about 3 months or really
Mhm.
6 weeks intensive. And I probably
Yeah.
cried every single day. Like, it was
Mm.
just such a, a learning process. But at the same time, I'm so glad that I did
Yeah.
it,
It's
and
a big release as well, that you had a really incredible release. Like there was all these pent up emotions that you hadn't really expressed. It was all like, it was almost like it's bottled up inside. And then you
ah,
go being with yourself and it just all come bubbling to the surface.
yeah. And through yoga, you don't just learn, these postures that help you feel good in your body, because it's good to feel good in your body,
Yes.
but you learn about how to breathe
Mhm.
again, to have that space, how to do meditation and sit with your own thoughts. That's hard, especially when your thoughts
Yeah.
aren't nice.
Yeah.
So
True.
how
Very
you
true.
turn your thoughts and your crazy mind and bring it to a really nice calm and bring it to a steady and to a place where it feels good and
Mm.
nurturing and kind. And it is
Yeah.
all about love and kindness. And that's what I learned as well when I was going to the Buddhist, the group that I was with, the community of people there. We over and over and over, we were doing love and kindness meditation. And it
Yeah,
wasn't just about loving ourselves, but it was putting love out to other people, including, people that we might not have ever met before. And the hardest one, to people that maybe were challenging to us.
yes, or I'd done horrible
Uh-huh.
things to you. Yeah,
So learning how to let go of those emotions and be okay on the other side of it, I learned so much in this process. And then I thought, okay, along with learning this, I'm going to do some life coaching tools. I did that. That was great. I found
yeah,
heart doing that. I found real
yeah,
good heart. And then I
yes.
was like, I'm going to make connections and I'm going to make interactions that really count with other people. And I've
Oh,
made so many friendships.
yes.
um, Honestly, I've met some amazing people, in the world,
Mhm.
all over the world, just by
Yes.
doing this work.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'll probably meet some more people through your chapter as well. And so
I hope so.
what do you, what's your intention? Like, what do you hope readers get from reading your chapter?
Well, I really, really hope that, it reaches people that are inspired by the story,
Mm,
but also are like, well, maybe they can relate to it. Maybe they've had loss. Maybe they've had feelings like I had of, feeling really down on yourself and not quite sure how to make those changes. I really want people to connect with it and think, well, if that's happened to me, there is way to move through it, and there is way to change, and
yeah.
find other sources. If you can't, I say in there, if you can't be your own cheerleader, like if you don't have that belief that you are all of these good things, or you can be that person that you long to be, find your belief in somebody else, because there are so many people out there that see you in a different light. I mean, I've got so many people that always, oh, Laura, you're so lovely, you're so this, and at first I was just, okay, whatever belief you have in me, I'm going to
Yeah.
hold on to that until I can find my own confidence and
Mm,
belief.
oh,
And I
nice.
just hope that anyone that reads it, really gives themselves the benefit of the doubt and really thinks, we can move through all sorts of things that happen to us, and we don't have to, it is a part of us, and we do need to keep that's shaped the way that we are. And I believe now that all of the things that have happened to me, whether I like them or not, if I could change parts of things in my life, I would. But they have
Mm,
shaped me to the person that I am now. And because of it and all of the lessons learned, I've got something to share and something to say, and also a platform to help others through it as well. If someone comes to me and they've lost and they're grieving, I can relate to you and I can maybe help you in some way,
mm,
but I can definitely listen to you and feel that
mm.
in you. So I'm holding space for people is so important.
Yes, and of
Because
course you run your own retreats as well now. And you'll run
yes,
one, I think it was late last year, you shared the photos and looked like an amazing experience. I think was it October or November that you did a retreat the
um,
south of
it
England?
was November. Yeah, I remember I finished my last draft of the book in the
Yeah.
hotel before all my retreat ladies turned up, and I was like, oh, I want to get it done, and I did it, and I
Last
remember
minute,
sending
yes.
it, and I was like,
Yeah.
John, I'm on retreat, and I've
So
got it done. This
awesome.
is it. And yeah, they came out to me in November. I have another one booked, fully booked, for
Yeah.
November this year.
How
Um,
awesome.
and it's
You're going
amazing.
same place?
So
Yeah.
it's same place again at the moment.
Yeah.
I do hold UK ones as well, and I'm hoping to have a couple in the pipeline. I'm very interested about going back to where this story began for me. I want to go back to Budapest. So I'm thinking about
Nice.
that. I'm thinking about perhaps going back to Budapest, perhaps taking some ladies with me. It was really interesting synchronicity happening again when I messaged the lady that I had that interaction, the eye gazing. I messaged her and said, "Hey, I want to offer you a book because I've written about this moment in the book. I want to offer you, when it comes out, I want to send you a paperback. And she said, yeah,
Mhm.
sure, that's fine. Are you gonna send it in the post? I said, oh, I know, I've sort of know we're friends like very loosely on social media, but I have no idea where you live. Well, she turns out she lives in Budapest.
Wow, really?
Full circle.
Yeah, how synchronistic is that? That's awesome. And of course, readers can read about your story, your experiences. It's launching tomorrow, it'll be 99 cents the ebook, and then
Yeah.
15.50 for the paperback. And of course, people can reach out and get signed copies directly from you as well. So that's pretty cool. And
No.
all the royalties from Amazon go to Jules Children's Home. So that's another good deed. And the last book that we launched in the series, all the proceeds went to building them a roof. And then we actually got the roof finished just before the rains came in the wet season. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, when you told me about the orphanage and the story behind it and how you visited it and then decided to, use the series as a way to, contribute, I knew
Yes.
instantly that I needed
Yeah.
to do this book. And I knew that I
Yeah.
wanted to work with you because it's so much more giving back. It's so much more. And it means so much to know that, not only is it a good thing for the readers and for us as authors, but from the back of that, the royalties are going to the Jules home in Bali. And, one day I'd like to go there. You know that I've said this. This is a mission of mine. I'd like to go and give back to the children. Who knows? I know children love yoga and mindfulness.
Yeah,
So,
well, we could organize you teaching a yoga class there for sure. Allow for plenty of time in Bali because there's a lot to see and do. It is in a remote area, so it's about 3.5 hours from the airport. But it's definitely worth the trip, and there's some beautiful places to stay in that area.
mm,
And it's not too far from Ahmed, which is a really nice snorkeling and diving spot in the northeast of the island. So yeah, but
well, I
you
like
would
to
love it.
manifest. I like to manifest, John. So maybe I'd be doing this again and manifesting that to happen. So
Awesome.
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it's been great chatting with you, and I'm excited for readers to read your chapter and connect with you more. And if you want more of these stories, then you can hit the subscribe button, and we'll make sure that more come your way. Thanks again, Laura. I appreciate you, and looking forward to readers reading your chapter.
Well, thank you, John. It's been so amazing connecting with you. So thank you for finding me.
Yeah, it was great. It was, yeah, pretty amazing, and I love the synchronicity of it all.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you, Laura.